to welcome you all to Pagan Fire Seminars. Today we're going to be talking about divination. Our subtitle is Taking Omens, Dividing Life. When we first started talking about doing Pagan Fire Seminars, what we wanted to do was something a little bit beyond the 101 level. We wanted something that was a little bit deeper, that drew people in a little bit more, and the idea of drawing them around that fire of practice and helping people to take their personal practices and sort of move them into a public sphere was one of the key things we wanted to talk about. And so we set on the idea of doing something that's a little bit more in depth than what you get at a festival workshop or a workshop you go to a shop or something like that. And we wanted to provide workbooks to help people take notes and sort of retain the information. We're recording so that we can put things up on YouTube and let people refer back to it. And the idea really is to give people a nice in-depth understanding of a particular topic. First year we did private practice and public ritual. We talked about moving from sort of that private sphere into the public sphere and the kinds of skills that are required to do that. In the second year we did magic. We talked about personal magical experiences and we had Ian come in, Ian Oregon, and he did a wonderful practicum for us with magical work. And then last year we took off because several of us had children. And then this year we're back talking about divination. And we started talking this morning really about what we might do next, the next time we do this. But it all revolves around the practicum. It all revolves around trying to explain the process of building that your fire and allowing other people to participate in it with you. The fire is no good if you're the only one sitting around it. It's always better to have more people. So when we talk about the aims of the seminar, today, what we're going to talk about are runes, Ogham, Greek alphabet oracles, and particular symbol sets. What I want you to know, though, is that we're not just going to talk about the meanings of the runes or the meanings of the Omens, what tree goes with what symbol. We're not going to talk about the Oracle of Doom as just Doom. I mean, the Greek alphabet oracle is just Doom. But instead, we're going to depart from the meanings of individual signs, and we're going to talk broadly about skills that can be applied to a lot of different divination sets. So we want to expand your understanding of additional divination tools as well. It's well and good to understand one simple set of divination, and you should understand one that is that has a lot of meaning to you. You're pagans. One of the key aspects of paganism is that we believe that we can communicate and hear back from the deities. It is not one-way communication, and the symbol sets allow us to do that. And so having a good understanding of one of those symbol sets is, I think, something that is a key thing. But we want you to also at least be exposed to other sets as well. We'll talk a lot about personal work in this. So the creation of, for instance, bind runes, or working with, doing personal vision work, things like that. That stuff will come up as well, but we don't want to just leave it in the personal realm. We want to move it into the public realm also. So a lot of this stuff is when you develop a skill, it's not just for you, it's for everybody. It's private to public. And then, of course, enriching your own personal work with the joy of public work. It is an amazing thing to stand up there in front of other people, whether it is a small group or a large group, and say something that has meaning to other people, and to have them understand that, and to have them help them on their path as they walk forth and do the work that they want to do. We talk a lot about fire in these things. The keys that we want to sort of mention for omen taking. When you take an omen, you are lighting the flame of understanding and experiencing the symbols in both academic and personal ways. What that means is that it's important to know the academic side of these things. It's important to know what the ancient symbol actually means, but it's also important to have a personal connection with it. You can't just read the old poems and assume you know everything about them. You have to do the work. Practice and exercise. Feed the flames. Add on fuel to the fire. As you sharpen your skills, the fire that burns within you burns brighter. Share that fire with others. As I said earlier, it's nowhere near as much fun to sit around a fire alone as it is to be there with others. Share the flame. Show other people what it looks like to have that fire within you. And then, of course, kindle the fire for others. Let them take those flames forth. When they've taken those flames forth, what you also want to understand is that as all of us draw these flames, as all of us bring them together, we're creating a brighter light. It's the difference between one candle in a room and 100 candles in a room. Each candle brings its own light, and each light is magnified by all of the others. So as we learn to do this, as we share the flame of our understanding and of our learning, we start to brighten the cosmos around us. So that is our basic overview of the idea that we had with these seminars. We wanted to help people really understand how their flame was lit, how bright it was, and how to bring it forth to others. This is a flame, or a theme that we return to over and over and over again in ADF, and it's one that we think is important to the Pagan community as a whole. So that's why we do this. That's what we want to do. And so all of the discussion that we have today is in light of those fires that we speak of. Now, I mentioned early on that we'll be talking about a bunch of different symbol sets. I'll be speaking about runes. I haven't actually introduced myself yet. My name is Reverend Michael J. Dangler. I'll be talking mostly about runes and things that sort of grow out of working with the runes. Bind runes, Icelandic magic staves, things like that. And I'll also talk a lot about the way that we carve runes and what it means to do that. Jan, Reverend Jan Bende over there, will be speaking about the Greek alphabet oracle. She'll be talking about helper spirits and things like that to sort of bring in more of the information around how you can do additional work with these. She'll talk about some specific spreads that you can use that she and others have developed as well. And then Shanine who's our current senior druid, will be speaking about the Owen, the Irish tree alphabet. And he'll also speak about bird alphabets, and stone alphabets, and things like that as well, to kind of give you an idea that it's not just trees when we talk about the Owen. These alphabetical systems, and all three of us are speaking of alphabetical systems, have deeper meanings than just the surface meaning that we like to think about. And so each one of us will be discussing a different one, but trying to build on things that we've already spoken of in previous workings. At the end of the day, we're going to create a talisman. Because we're all working with these alphabetical systems, they lend themselves well to making talismans of some sort. And so we're going to talk about how to make a talisman, how to develop one, and then we're going to paint them onto the blocks of wood that you have, so that you can have a talisman for, say, safe travel, or for learning, or for whatever it is that you want to have it for. And we will do a rite and we will bless them. So you can take them home. Before I get started, any questions about format? I mentioned that we do have the 2 cameras. The cameras are there mostly for us, so that we can learn from them and then potentially post to YouTube. And since they are both pointed at me at the moment, you guys are unlikely to be on them. But I wanted to let you know about them. We'll move them about a bit when we go to do ritual and things like that, just so that everybody knows. We've also got a number of sets in the back. I brought them from Magical Druid so that people can see a set if they haven't seen a set before. It's always possible. Handle a set and kind of get to understand it. We've also got some fins windows back there and things like that. I don't have a lot of Greek alphabet oracles, but I have one. It's a really nice one. And then, of course, we have food. Feel free to come up and get some if you get hungry. There's coffee and
bottled water in the fridge.
Bottled water in the fridge.
Tea.
And tea.
Orange juice.
There's all sorts of stuff.
Eat.
Yes, please do. The other question I've got, you guys hear me all right in the back?
Yep.
Hear me all right? Good, because that means that the camera's can't. One of the other things that we've done is we have left on the tables as well a little package of cards. These are the cheat sheets from Magical Druid that we give out with all of our sets, just so that you have a list, an easy, handy list of what the runes, the Ogham, the Greek alphabet oracle, and there's actually a set of witches' runes in there, or a card for witches' runes as well in there, which is not a system that we're going to talk about. It's a sortilege system, as well as a prayer card into Apollo for their site. And I figured that would fit nicely with what we're doing today. But those are designed to be kept with a set, if you have one, or to refer to as we go to make our talismans this afternoon. Also, in the back of the book, there are a couple of cheat sheets. There are actually 2 for Ogham in here. There's one that Sean has put together, and then there's one that I've put together. They are slightly different, and that is, well, I'm sure Sean will explain why they're slightly different, but it's primarily because it's Irish, and things sometimes end up different depending on where you are in Ireland. You may pronounce things differently, or you might have a different tree